Imagine a world untouched by human hands, pristine and full of wonder. This is where our story begins, at the dawn of humanity, with the biblical characters Adam and Eve. Picture this, a garden, Eden, a place of unparalleled beauty and harmony, where rivers flow with crystal clear water, and trees bear the sweetest fruits. In this paradise, the first breath of human life was drawn. This is where we encounter Adam, the first man, handcrafted by none other than the divine creator himself. From the dust of the earth, God sculpted Adam, infusing life into his form with a breath. Here in the paradise of Eden, Adam found his home, tending to the garden and living in perfect harmony with nature. The birds sang his praises, and the animals were his companions. Yet, among all of the garden's inhabitants, none were quite like Adam. The Creator, in his infinite wisdom, recognized Adam's solitude. He saw that while the animals were companions, they were not equals. Adam was unique, a being of thought and emotion, capable of love and longing. It was then that God decided that Adam should not be alone. In the tranquil slumber of Adam, God performed a second act of creation. He took one of Adam's ribs and from it crafted another being. This was not just another creature, but a partner for Adam, an equal. This was Eve, the first woman, a mirror to Adam, yet unique in her own right. She was the final touch to the masterpiece that was Eden, a counterpart to Adam, and together they formed the first human relationship. Their bond was more than companionship. It was a unity of purpose and partnership, a reflection of the divine love that had brought them into existence. And thus, in this perfect garden, Adam was alone no more. Eve, the first woman, was created from Adam's rib, setting the stage for the first human relationship. In this paradise, there was but one rule. Yet, as we'll soon discover, even a single rule proved too much for human curiosity. In the heart of Eden, the tree of knowledge of good and evil stood as a symbol of divine command and human restraint. Amidst all the abundance, it bore the forbidden fruit, a test of obedience for the first man and woman. Enter the serpent, the embodiment of cunning and deceit. It slithered its way into the narrative, its intentions as twisted as its form. This creature, more crafty than any other, approached Eve with a tantalizing proposition. The serpent, with its silver tongue, questioned the divine command. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? With knowledge came understanding, and with understanding came the realization of their disobedience. The taste of the forbidden fruit was still fresh on their lips, but Adam and Eve were already feeling the weight of their actions. A new consciousness was dawning, one that revealed their nakedness, both physical and metaphorical. They had been naked before, of course. They had been born into this world without a stitch of clothing, innocent and unashamed, as nature intended. But now their newfound understanding transformed their perception. Their nakedness was no longer a mere physical state, but a symbol of their vulnerability and their guilt. Stunned by this revelation, they hastily stitched together fig leaves, fashioning the world's first clothes in a desperate attempt to cover their shame. But alas, their physical coverings were no match for the emotional and spiritual exposure they felt. And then they heard it. The sound of God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Before, this sound would have brought them joy, comfort, a sense of belonging. But now, it only filled them with dread. They had disobeyed, and they knew it. Panic seized them, their hearts pounded in their chests, and they did the only thing they could think of. They hid. But can anyone truly hide from the omnipresent? The all-seeing eyes of God found them, and their futile attempt to hide only underscored their guilt. The fig leaves were no barrier to the divine gaze. The bushes they crouched behind were no obstacle for the Creator of all. God called out to them, "Where are you?" Not because he didn't know where they were, but to give them a chance to come forward, to confess their disobedience. But fear and shame held them captive. They had tasted the forbidden fruit, and now they were to experience the price of disobedience. In their fear and shame, Adam and Eve had not only lost their innocence, but also their home. The Garden of Eden, once a sanctuary of pure delight, was now a reminder of their lost innocence and the paradise they had forfeited. As with any transgression, there were consequences to be faced. Following the fall, a divine reckoning was meted out. The serpent, the architect of deception, was cursed more than all cattle and every beast of the field. It was to crawl on its belly and eat dust all the days of its life, a symbol of its humiliation and defeat. The enmity between the serpent and mankind was set, an eternal struggle between the force of deception and the power of truth. Then came the turn of Eve, the first to succumb to the serpent's guile. She was given pain not only in childbirth, but also in raising her children. Her desire would be for her husband, who would rule over her. It was a sentence that held a mirror to the magnitude of her transgression, a constant reminder of the paradise lost. Adam, who had stood by Eve in the act of disobedience, was not spared either. Because he listened to his wife and ate from the forbidden tree, the ground was cursed. It would no longer effortlessly yield its bounty. Adam would have to toil in sweat to eat of it all the days of his life. Thorns and thistles it would bring forth, a harsh contrast to the lush abundance of Eden. Adam was reduced to the dust from which he was taken, a mortal being, destined to return to the earth upon his death. The Garden of Eden, once a sanctuary of peace and innocence, was now a lost paradise. Adam and Eve were banished, forced to leave the comfort and abundance of Eden. They stepped into a world of hardship and struggle, where survival was earned through sweat and perseverance. It was a stark departure from the divine providence they had once enjoyed, a dramatic shift in their existence. And so they were cast out, forced to endure a life of hardship and mortality on the earth they were taken from. Despite their fall, Adam and Eve's story didn't end outside the garden. Far from it. They were the dawn of a new chapter, the very progenitors of the human race, as per biblical texts. This was their legacy, a lineage that would stretch on for millennia, a heritage woven into the very fabric of humanity. Their lives outside Eden were filled with hardship and toil, yet it also brought forth new life. They bore children, the firstborn of humankind. Their names were Cain, Abel, and Seth, each carrying a piece of their parents' legacy. Cain, the eldest, was a tiller of the ground, a testament to the earthbound existence that Adam and Eve had been consigned to after their expulsion from the garden. Abel, the second son, was a shepherd, a role that symbolized the nurturing and guardianship that his parents had once held over all creation. And then there was Seth. Born after the tragic demise of Abel, Seth represented hope and renewal, a reminder that even in the face of despair, life persists. Each of these children carried forward the legacy of Adam and Eve, a legacy that was marred by their initial disobedience, yet also imbued with their resilience and capacity for love. As parents, they nurtured their offspring, teaching them the ways of the world, just as they had once learned from their own Creator. And so, the story of Adam and Eve continued through their descendants, a lineage that would, according to the biblical narrative, eventually lead to the birth of notable figures such as Noah, Abraham, and even Jesus Christ. Their story, imprinted in the annals of human history, became a foundational narrative in the Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Their tale, one of love, deceit, and redemption, has endured, echoing through the ages. Despite the trials they faced, Adam and Eve's legacy lives on, a testament to their pivotal role in the story of humanity. The story of Adam and Eve is more than just a tale from an ancient text. It's a narrative that has seeped into the very fabric of human culture, transcending geographical boundaries and time periods. This story has been adopted, adapted, and interpreted by various cultures and religions worldwide, each adding its unique perspective, yet preserving the core essence. Consider the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. They all share this narrative in their holy scriptures, albeit with slight variations. For Christians, it's a story of original sin and redemption. For Muslims, it's a tale of repentance and God's mercy. For Jews, it's a narrative about the consequences of disobedience, yet also about divine compassion. But the story doesn't stop at religion. It's also embedded in our literature, art, and philosophy, serving as a metaphorical backdrop to explore complex human conditions. Think about it. Adam and Eve, in their pristine innocence, represent humanity in its purest form. Their temptation by the serpent symbolizes the universal struggle against allurements that lead us astray. The act of eating the forbidden fruit embodies the human tendency to overstep boundaries, driven by curiosity and desire, The expulsion from Eden, then, is a poignant reminder of the repercussions of our actions, of the inevitable fallout of transgressions. But even in this grim scenario, there's a silver lining. The potential for redemption, for learning from our mistakes and striving for better. So, what does the story teach us? It imparts valuable moral lessons about temptation and responsibility, about the consequences of our actions, and the possibility of redemption. It encourages introspection, urging us to examine our actions and their impact on ourselves and others. It's a mirror held up to humanity, reflecting our strengths and weaknesses, our triumphs and failures. Thus, the story of Adam and Eve continues to hold relevance, teaching us about temptation, responsibility, and the human condition. It reminds us that we are fallible, yet capable of growth and redemption, a testament to the enduring complexity of being human. The story of Adam and Eve, the first man and woman, is a tale as old as time. We journeyed back to the dawn of humanity, where the story of Adam and Eve began. The pair, created in perfect harmony, lived in the idyllic Garden of Eden. Life was peaceful, unmarred by hardship, and they enjoyed an intimate relationship with their Creator. But as we've seen, this tranquility was not to last. The serpent, a symbol of deception, entered the scene, and with it came the first seeds of doubt and disobedience. The serpent's cunning words led Eve and subsequently Adam to eat from the forbidden tree of knowledge. This act, often referred to as the fall of man, marked a significant turning point, not only for Adam and Eve but for all of humanity. The consequences of their actions were immediate and profound. Cast out of Eden, Adam and Eve had to face the harsh realities of a world tainted by their actions. They now knew hardship, pain, and death, experiences previously unknown in their Edenic existence. Yet, despite the hardships, the story of Adam and Eve is not one solely of downfall. It is also a story of resilience, of moving forward in the face of adversity. Their legacy has endured through the ages, shaping the way we understand ourselves and our place in the world. Their story, one of temptation, fall, and redemption, echoes in the human experience, offering lessons on the consequences of our actions, the importance of responsibility, and the power of redemption. It's a narrative that continues to resonate, informing our understanding of morality, free will, and the human condition. And so, through their story, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, our history, and our humanity.